in 2017, that was our first year in real estate, we did about $685,000 in GCI. In 2018, 1 year later, we ended up closing about $2.3 million in GCI. And so we experienced this massive rapid growth, and it was awesome to experience. It was tumultuous and chaotic at the time, but in retrospect, it was a lot of fun. And it was really cool to go back and kind of like think through what were the pivotal moments and what were the key decisions that we made that helped us get to that growth. And we've never been able to duplicate that 300% growth since then. We've added, like, from 2020 to 21, we added about 50% GCI, but that 300% we've never gotten anywhere close to again. So it was a big accomplishment for us. And what we want to do today is we just want to share with you exactly what did we do to get there. And whether you're trying to grow from 50,000 to 150,000 GCI, or you're trying to go from 150 to 500 or 500 to 2 million, all of these concepts we're going to share with you today will 100% apply to you, and you can just kind of scale these based on what you're trying to do. So a little bit about us, just in case you don't know who we are. Mike and Rachael Novak, married couple out of Snohomish County, Washington. We run a team of 24 people here, 11 agents, and then a support team as well. We sell about 250 homes a year, and Rachael and I are both very actively in production. We're not just like theorists that tell people what to do and coach people and say, hey, go try this that we've never done before. We're like in the trenches, still selling houses. Selling homes is one of my favorite things to do. I love the production side of real estate. So we're not telling you to do things we haven't personally done ourselves. Okay. Anything to add to that, Rachael?
No, I think just it is important to know that we don't come from a place of hypothesis. We've definitely done all these things. We've failed a lot. And the whole point of us doing these webinars and even providing any sort of insight or value into how we've grown our business is because we failed a lot. And we want you guys to skip that part if possible and learn from our mistakes so that you can adopt some of the things that we've done well, that we found success with, and maybe not do some of the things that we didn't do as well and had to stumble our way through. So that really is our motivation, to be able to just give back to the real estate community, because as we'll kind of go through in these next 5 steps, there's been a lot poured back into us, and a lot of info and a lot of mentorship that we've sought out. And so if we can be that for anybody, I think that's really our motivation with doing these.
Awesome. Let's jump right into things. The first key to success, to this massive growth we're talking about, is getting the right people. We always look at things as a who problem and not a how problem. And what that means is if I get the right person put into the right position, doing the right things in my business, they will be able to take my business and run with it, right? I'm not going to have to micromanage this person. I'm not going to have to tell them everything they have to think about. They're going to take this position, they're going to run with it, and they're going to take complete ownership for it. So when I'm saying the right people, I mean the team that you're going to build around you. If you're a single agent, that could be an admin that you end up adding. I'm going to talk about team structure later, like how to go from one person to multiple people and do it successfully. But ultimately, what we want to talk about in this step is just who should you be surrounding yourself with as you grow your operation? And so I'm not even going to use the word team. I'm just going to say your business, okay? Because I don't want you to think that this is all about just building a mega team. This is also about taking you as a single agent and starting to get the right people around you so you can focus on more of the right things. If you're a single agent trying to do everything, a lot of things that you're doing are probably $15, $20 an hour admin-like tasks. I'm talking about contract to close things, once you actually pen a deal. I'm talking about pre-listing work, all of those paperwork type things. You need to be handing things like that off. And that comes into hiring the right person. So we've hired lots of the wrong people. And so we can share with you what that looks like and some of those mistakes that we have made. But we wanted to break down for you how you can actually hire the right people. And then later on, we'll share with you the model that you could possibly use on who to add and what position would they actually be doing. So Rachael ran the hiring part of our business for quite a long time and only has kind of recently stepped out of it. So I want to have her share with you guys what our hiring process has been. And we implemented this back in 2020. Credit to Eric Hatch, our business coach out of Fargo, North Dakota. He was like, Mike, you guys got to pump the brakes and stop hiring everybody that just wants to be on your team. That's not going to work for you. Because we were like, hey, come join the fan club, hop on, let's sling some houses together, we'll get some shit done. And that was not working for us at all. And so he was like, you got to slow down. you got to hire very intentionally, and you need to be thinking way further out than when you actually have a need for somebody. So I'm not waiting to hire someone until I need that help.
Yeah.
I'm thinking 6 to 12 months down the road, what do I want my business to look like? And I'm starting to make moves now for getting there. So Rachel, walk us through the 9-step hiring process.
Yeah. So like Mike said, we've actually done a webinar on this as well, like getting really, really specific on the 9-step hiring process. So go check our YouTube channel and you can probably find that on there if you want to get really granular. But the whole point of the 9-step hiring process and the reason we slow it way, way down is because this is a big decision. People do not really understand the gravity of what training somebody looks like to be a leverage piece in your business. When you're spending that time, when you're investing in that person, when you're mentoring them and helping them understand not just your business, but the concepts around real estate and becoming efficient in it, you have to trust that person. You have to know that they want to be there. So while what most people do is they'll put out an ad or they'll put it out on social media somewhere that I'm looking for this position, and they'll get a couple of applicants, and then they go on an interview or they go out to coffee with that person, and they end up talking the entire time to that person, right? I'm the real estate agent. I'm talking to that person the entire time about how awesome this opportunity is and giving them all these promises about what it's going to look like and explaining everything about their business and how getting them all excited and amped up about what to do. And let me tell you, there's nothing really wrong with that, except that that's the only step that most people do. And if that's the only filter that you're bringing people on into your business through, then you're going to have issues. So the point of the 9-step hiring process is really to be able to see people in different scenarios with different modalities, i.e., a phone interview, and then a one-on-one interview. And then we literally do an actual essay questionnaire where we'll send them instructions to write out, answer specific questions in essay format. So we get to know them a little bit. This is a big decision to bring somebody into your business. So rushing that decision and pulling somebody in because of the potential that you see is one of the biggest mistakes that you can do, because their potential is nothing without action. And the 9-step hiring process, you're able to see action throughout that. You're able to see, their drive. You're able to get them in different situations and different interviews where you can see that they're answering the same way. You can see that their language patterns are the same, because everybody's going to show up the first 2 interviews, the phone interview and the one-on-one interview, in their Sunday best. They're going to show up dressed up. They're going to have all the right answers. They're going to be yes men the entire time. So the second that you're able to get through different scenarios, get them to answer some essay questions as to who they are, what makes them feel like they're struggling, what do they get anxious about, what is their schedule like, what are they into, really get to know that person, you're going to be able to see if they are actually in alignment with what you're looking for, not just for the position, but as people. You're going to spend a lot of time with these people as they're coming into your organization. You're going to spend a lot of time. There's going to be frustrations, right? Like we talk about people in our team, and it's like a family. There's going to be dysfunction. There's going to be breakdowns. There's going to be, missed opportunities. So we have to have the level of trust and the level of understanding with each other that, you drop the ball or something happens, there's grace, but we have to own it. So
Rachel, would you say that some people, like a common mistake is that people try to sell someone on the position?
100%. And that's kind of what I was saying with if you're sitting down and you're telling them everything that's great on it and everything they're going to love about it, and you're getting them really excited about it, you may not be giving them the opportunity to really think through what they're wanting. So one of the biggest keys that I did when I shifted my focus in regards to implementing this 9-step hiring process to bring people onto our team and in our organization, like our individual businesses, is making sure that I'm asking them more questions and getting them to talk more about what they want. Because people will tell you what they want, maybe without telling you exactly what they want, if you're asking the right questions. So just like with clients, talk 20% of the time, get them to talk 80% of the time. I want to know what your dreams are. I want to know what would success look like to you. I want to know what kind of quality of life you're hoping for, what kind of schedule you're hoping for, without me telling you exactly what it is. Because if you say, are you okay working these long hours? Of course, they're going to say yes.
And what about the leading question concept? You and I have talked a lot about this. I know that this was a big breakthrough for you just in your hiring kind of skill set when you went from kind of like getting this person to give you the answer you wanted versus asking them a question that kind of made them come up with their own solution to it, not necessarily what you wanted to hear, right? Can you explain that?
That's exactly right. Yeah. I mean, the leading question, guys, is basically something that you ask them, kind of like I just said about, are you okay working long hours and on weekends and whenever you need to? Of course, they're going to say yes. Of course, they're going to say, yes, I'm fine with that. But if you say, what's really important to you in your day-to-day schedule? And how often are you wanting to be home to see your family? And if they say, well, I'd really like to be home for dinner every night. And, Sundays are like the day that I just like to chill and relax with my family. That may not be a fit if you're looking for a showing partner, for instance, right? So asking them questions that are open-ended and getting them to come up with their answers as opposed to yes questions or yes or no questions is super key in regards to the interview process.
One of the tools that we've used quite a bit is called WiseHire. It's really built for the real estate industry, and it is basically an applicant tracking system. So when you're ready to hire somebody, you would really put a lot of thought into writing a job description. Like, you have to take time for this and really map out, what the heck am I looking for? What are the responsibilities going to be for this person? What should they, have for experience? What's the compensation going to look like? What are the KPIs, the key performance indicators for success in this role? And really draft that out and put a lot of thought into it. Having a really good, thoughtful job description should take you a couple hours if you've never hired for that position before, because you're going to be thinking about, what should this position be taking off my plate? Right. And what is the gap in the business this position needs to fill? So take the time to write the right job description, put it up in WiseHire, and then that will be the link you can share with people to apply for the position. I had a breakthrough maybe 2 years ago. I was sitting in one of our team meetings. I looked around at everybody, and there's like 25 people in this room. And I realized that just about every single person there, with a few exceptions, had come from our sphere. Like, they were either past clients that we had sold houses for, and they just wanted to join the team. Like, hey, that was so much fun buying a house. I want to come do this full time with you. We're like, sweet, let's talk about that more. Or they were just friends of other team members on the team. So you have to put out there on your own social media. You have to be talking to people about what you're looking for. Of course, do not just give the position away to somebody because you were friends with them, but put this in front of your sphere. And more often than not, you're going to find that person through a connection and a relationship you already have. Don't rely on just posting the job on Indeed. That is half-ass, okay? You actually have to think through, how could this person come to me through a relationship I have, whether if it's from social media, from a title rep, a mortgage person. Make sure people know exactly what you're looking for, and then run them through the full 9 steps, irregardless of where they came from, okay?
100%.
When it comes to culture, this is another part of having the right people. Rachel, I'd love for you to talk more about how to have a culture that's fun, because you're really good at this. I'm not the fun one between the two of us. I'm the boring, get shit done kind of person. But Rachel she has a great job of cultivating a culture that's fun. It's great to be a part of, but there's some hardcore accountability to go along with it, because fun without accountability is a recipe for not making any money. And when you're not profitable, you're not sustainable. So can you talk about that, Rachel?
Absolutely. We tell every single teammate from the very beginning, from the interview process to onboarding to 90 days in, 6 months in, 5 years in with us, that everything is earned and nothing is given. And so I think it's really, really important that if you care about the people, you show them you care. But at the same time, you maintain standards based on the commitments that they want to give, right? So if your teammates have things they want to do, they have a number of homes they want to sell, they have a number of GCI they want to hit, super, super important that you ask them, are you okay with me keeping you accountable to your goals? Because there is a fine line between being all business all the time and also infusing a little bit of fun, right? So the kinds of things that we do for fun would be, for instance, this week we brought in mimosa fixings and green Jello and cookies and Lucky Charms, stuff just to kind of celebrate St. Patrick's Day for no other reason than to just celebrate St. Patrick's Day. It's as simple as that is, for the people that want to enjoy it. Hey, having a little bit of a half of a mimosa on a Wednesday is kind of fun, right? We don't do that every Wednesday nor every week, but it's those kinds of things that, like, let's enjoy each other in life as well, because this is a lifestyle that we all subscribe to. Every single day feels like Monday, and every single day feels like Friday if you're in real estate. And I know y'all know what I mean by that. So if we can infuse a little bit of fun while at the same time have structure and have accountability, it's been a really winning combination for many people on our team. to be able to have a little bit of fun, let loose, but also understand that things are not going to be given easy. They've got to earn them.
So when you have a team member that's not performing, how do you handle that? Like, because this is the accountability piece, right? The fun part's not that hard to do. Like, everyone loves to go out and have drinks and have a great time, but how do you actually, get traction and hold someone accountable to the commitments they gave you if they're falling short? Because that accountability is certainly a cornerstone of the culture.
It definitely is. Yeah. I mean, I think that it's just really important that if you're leading somebody or if you're bringing people into your organization, your operation, you have to ask them what it is that they're looking for. You have to ask them what their vision for their business looks like. Or if you have standards that you've set the expectations for with a partner or an admin, if they're consistently not hitting those, it's your job to make sure that they are, number one, aware of it. People cannot get better if they don't know that they're not performing at that level. So number one, you absolutely have to make them aware of it. Number two, you have to identify the specific areas in which they're struggling and address those head on with them. I try to get buy-in from our people and say, what do you think you could be doing better? Or what do you think you could be doing different to improve this particular area? And simply put, if it comes down to it, because we've had this happen many times, if they just cannot seem to get on board, they cannot seem to continue to follow through with the commitments, then they're typically put on like a 30-day performance improvement plan where we set out specific benchmarks together with that person, and they have to hit them by these times. And if they're hitting them by those times, then we're seeing a little bit of growth. We're seeing a little bit of improvement. If they fall short because of effort, because of things that they can control, then it typically results in being, asked to exit the team, which doesn't happen a ton for us, but it certainly does.
Yeah, it doesn't happen fast either. It's a process too.
Yeah.
So, okay, awesome. So I think we pretty thoroughly covered the first one, which is getting the right people. If you've got questions about that, something we didn't cover that you want to make sure we do, please throw it up in the Q&A. We'll make sure that we get back to it. But let's jump on to number 2, just to make sure we don't run out of time on getting to all 5. I want to talk about the right coach and the right mastermind group. So the single first thing I did when I got in real estate, the first dollar I spent was on hiring a real estate coach. I knew just from my past experiences that if I got the right person that had done what I wanted to do, and they'd already been there themselves, they would shorten that path and that learning curve for me as well. So we've coached with the Tom Ferry Group. We've coached with Club Wealth, which is actually based out of Washington. We've coached with John Cheplack, and we still coach with Hatch Coach. We've been with Hatch Coaching since 2019. And every one of these companies has some really great things about them. And I would say each one of them were pivotal to the growth that we ended up experiencing. But I would urge you to try to find a coach and to be willing to invest in yourself just a little bit. I would rather have you spend money on a real estate coach than go spend money on Zillow or online leads or something like that. You can have those things later, but if you get a coach that gets you doing the right things that don't even cost you money to start with, you're going to go so much further, so much faster, and make so many less mistakes. A lot of business growth, guys, comes down to minimizing the mistakes that you make, and a right coach will help you do that. So I want to share with you guys questions that I think you should ask any person that you're considering possibly hiring as a coach. The first question: have you done what I'm trying to do? I personally don't think you should hire a coach that hasn't been exactly where you want to go. If they've been there, they've sold houses, if you're trying to build a team, they've built a team, things like that, then that is a good starting point to be able to possibly explore the relationship further. The second one: what are the specifics of your own real estate career? I want to know, are you still in production? Do you still run a team, or are you just a full-time coach at this point? It's okay if you're a full-time coach. There's nothing wrong with that. I just want to know, what does your real estate career look like now? What did it look like before? And how successful were you? I'm not going to hire a coach to coach me that wasn't successful on their own. So I want transparency to that. How many units? When did this happen? What did that look like? Tell me about your team. Tell me about the ups and downs, things like that. The third one: how would your clients describe your coaching style? Just ask that question and then listen to what they have to say, because you're going to learn a lot from the response in that one. Is your coaching one size fits all, or is it customized? So I believe that coaching is customizable. Like, it has to be tailored to the person's strengths and what they're trying to accomplish as well, because everyone has different goals, everyone has different strengths and weaknesses, and so there needs to be a degree of customization for you. It shouldn't be just putting you in a box It should instead be exploring your business really for the first few months you're coaching with them, and then identifying opportunities that they could help you strengthen up on to really grow your business quickly. It usually takes a month or two of coaching with a new coach before they really have a firm understanding of your business and of you as a person and can start giving you really tactical guidance, helping you implement things. I also think it's important with a coach that they're able to give you specific framework for things. Like if you want to go run pay-per-click leads, that they've got a system for you to go do that, almost like an SOP. Like, hey, okay, Rachel wants to go run Zillow. Here's an SOP for Zillow. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to know. This is what you're going to measure. This is how you're going to know if it's working or not. Like basically a done for you format of how to actually execute this. Okay.
Well, and guys, honestly, like the reason to hire a coach, and say it's expensive. I mean, it's not cheap hiring a coach, right? $2,000 to $4,000 a month feels like a lot of money. But what it is it's basically they're providing you, like Mike said, the blueprint to build your business. So you don't have to guess. You don't have to wonder. We are so overwhelmed in real estate with all the different paths and all the different technologies and all the different ways to build a team and reasons and what not to do and what to do. There's so much to think about and know that having a coach will help basically give you that tunnel vision that you need to be able to move forward with the things that are going to work for you. And we'll talk about, the right model for you and your business here in a minute, but that's
another question. Why do you coach? And the answer I don't want to hear is because I'm tired of selling houses. Okay. Like this needs to be a logical progression of the person's career. What expectations do you have for me? You want to make sure that you're very clear on what they're expecting from you. A realistic expectation is that when the coach asks you to do something, you say you're going to do it, you actually do it before you get back on that next coaching call. That's totally normal. And that's what you should be looking for. And then what expectations should I have for you as my coach? And just listen to what they have to say. Is there a contract is another good question. I don't like coaching contracts. I think that if the coach is good, then they don't need a contract. Like the only organizations that use coaching contracts are companies that are not confident in what they're offering their people. I think a non-contract situation makes a lot of sense for you. So I'd ask about that. And then what sort of access do I have to you between coaching calls? And the answer for this one varies widely, but my expectations for coaches is that when I need to talk to you, I can talk to you. And I'm okay with it taking an hour or two for us to connect, but I'm not going to wait 2 weeks in between our coaching calls to get an answer that I need today to move my business forward. So this totally depends on what your needs are. But for me, it's always been, I need to be able to talk to you, and I need to be able to talk to you all the time. The coach that coached us from 2017 to 2018 Damage year, he literally spoke to me 2 or 3 times a day. Like nonstop conversations, co-piloting this business together. It was super intensive, and he gave 110% to it. Without him, that growth would have been almost impossible to achieve. So huge shout out to Damon on that. So those are questions I think you should consider. A mastermind is basically, for those that don't know, a group of people that get together and they just mastermind and think through and talk about what's going good in their business, what's not going good in their business, and how they could possibly improve on it. So naturally, in a group like that, there's going to be people with certain strengths, and you want to hear from those people what they're doing really well and hopefully learn something from them. And then you should be able to also share what your strengths are so people can learn from you. We're in 2 different mastermind groups. We've been in a couple of others as well. And I think this has been really important to our success. Like when you get in the right room with the right people talking about the right things, amazing things can happen, and some lifelong relationships and friendships can be built as well. I can tell you that 2 of my absolute best friends came out of masterminds. These are lifelong relationships now that we're super close on and that have really nothing to do with real estate at this point, but it all started with masterminding together. So as you're evaluating masterminds, I think you need to look at a couple things. You need to make sure that there's people in that room that are doing what you're trying to do at a higher level. You cannot be the smartest person in that room, or it's not going to work for you. And the thing is, guys, that's what feels comfortable. Like it feels good to be in a room where you're like, oh, I got my shit together compared to these people. But that's not going to help you grow. So you have to be willing to step outside that comfort zone and be surrounded by people that are much, much better than what you are. The other thing, you need to analyze yourself and ask yourself a question. Am I willing to be an active contributor to this mastermind? If you're not, don't even think about starting it, okay? Masterminds cost money in most cases, at least the good ones do. And if you're gonna put in your time and your money, you need to be committed to giving back contribution to it. It doesn't work if everyone doesn't contribute, okay? So super important. What are the meeting cadences? I like a monthly meeting cadence for Zoom. That's what we do in the Hatch Mastermind. And then we meet up 3 times a year physically in person. I like that as well. Just because when we meet in person, we cover so much more ground in a couple of days. And a lot of the growth comes from not the structured like, round the table mastermind. It comes from the one-on-one conversations over dinner with somebody who's mastered a part of your business that you don't have dialed in, and we're able to really learn from them what they did to break through. That is the power of masterminding at its highest level, in my opinion. The other question is just simply, how long have people been in this mastermind? You don't want to be in a mastermind where it's constantly turning over. You should see people that are in there for 2-3 years. It's not uncommon for people to move on after that period of time to get to the next level or to work on a different part of their business, but you're looking for people that have been in there for at least 2 to 3 years. Rachel, you've been to a lot of these masterminds with me. What do you got to add?
Yeah, I mean, what I was really just going to add about the coaching thing is, and masterminds, I suppose, as well, is it's very, very normal to enter a relationship with a coach or enter a relationship into a mastermind with people and then grow alongside them, right? Like, hopefully they're also growing and evolving and you're growing and evolving. But the reason that we've really gone from different coach to different coach over the last 6.5, 7 years is because our business has evolved and we've evolved. And it's simply put, you may outgrow coaches. You may outgrow those relationships just because you've taken everything that they could possibly teach you. You've implemented everything that they could possibly have given you. And now it's time to move on because maybe your business is going in a different direction, or maybe you're going into a different season. So I think that it's totally okay to think about that. If you're constantly outgrowing them, like within a month or two, or you don't feel like they're providing value within the first couple of calls, get out immediately. Go find somebody. When you're interviewing, use those questions that Mike laid out about what kind of expectations they have for you. Because if you're walking into a coaching relationship and they don't plan on keeping you accountable to the things that you say you're going to do, you don't have the right coach. And just like the mastermind as well, right? There's people in that mastermind that we're going to keep each other accountable to things that we say we're going to do. Accountability is a huge part of having the right coach and being in the right masterminds.
Yeah, I'm glad you addressed, that there's the right coach for the right season of your business, and that person's maybe not going to be your coach for life, and that's okay.
Totally. Yeah.
Like in Damon's case, Damon literally called me one day and said, "Mike, you're fired. I've taught you everything I know. You've implemented all of it, and you need to go find somebody else now." Like, that's a coach with integrity, guys. Like, they've taught you their whole playbook, and they're telling you it's time to move on to the next person that's going to push you to the next level. Okay. So if you've got questions about coaching or about the masterminding, definitely throw it up in the Q&A and we'll try to address them. All right, let's talk about number 3, the right mindset. Go deep on this, Rach.
This is my favorite one. Guys, when it comes down to being able to build a business, experience growth, whether that's bringing people on, whether that's building a team, or whether that's just growth in your own business, the right mindset is absolutely key. It cannot be understated how important it is, because at the end of the day, you will never be able to get your business growing bigger, more GCI, more people in your organization if you are not growing as a person. So this is where the mindset comes in. You have to think, number one, what do I want my business to look like? And why do I want to grow? There are multiple reasons that I think that real estate agents think they have to grow their business or grow their team or grow their organization. But you have to know what is the true reason you're trying to build it. For us, it was leverage. We wanted a better quality of life. We wanted to not have to work 80 or 90 hours to serve our people at a high level because we were all in on it, right? We wanted to have a quality of life where we saw our kids. We wanted to have a quality of life where we were able to travel and not have our business fall apart when we were gone. So the reason that we really wanted to grow in our businesses was leverage. I think a lot of people get into this rut of, I want to grow because of their ego. And I think that that's a really important thing to ask yourself. Am I really wanting to grow because I want a different business? Or am I growing because that's what I think I need to do? Am I growing because that's what people are going to see and that's what I want people to see? If those are the reasons, it's always going to be, sorry to say it, it's always going to fail. Because you have to be into it with the right mindset. You have to be going into it thinking, I want to grow because I want a better life and I want to provide a better life for these people. You also have to think about growing and in this right mindset. Do I want to manage people? Because there are 2 ways to grow a team. There is the quick way to bring on a bunch of people that don't have a ton of ownership, that have high expectations of what you're going to provide them, that really aren't really bought in on you necessarily. They're just trying out the industry. And then the other way is the slow hire. It's using the 9-step hiring process. It's understanding the desires and the aspirations of the people that you're bringing into your organization. And when you're partnering with people, partnering with admin, partnering with your showing partners or listing partners, as opposed to just managing them. It becomes a completely different dynamic in your business. And you have to have the mindset of partnering with your people as opposed to managing your people. Mike and I, guess there is one word that Mike and I absolutely hate, and we do not let anyone on our team use it. And that word, guys, is boss. We are no one's boss. We are leaders. We are empowerers, right? We are the ones who empower our people, whether they are an hourly employee, whether they're a salary employee or a 1099 on our team. We simply want to empower them and get them to own their position and own their responsibilities in their job and the commitments that they're committed to. So really, again, if you're wanting to grow, you have to, number one, think about the reason. Number two, you have to think about managing or leading, partnering with people. And then, of course, number three, am I wanting to really lock arms with people? Am I wanting to see their success as well? Or am I just wanting them to come on for my own success? The mindset behind how you grow your business will absolutely make or break the next couple of years in your business, okay? And then think again, when you're talking about bringing people on, which we're going to talk about the next one here, where are your strengths? Are you hiring people with the exact same strengths as you? Are you hiring somebody to be your leverage partner, your listing partner, your showing partner, who has the exact same personality as you, who is also, maybe tech savvy, or who is also this, but they're not as great on conversion? I mean, if you have to think about and get in the mindset of, I need people around me who they can excel in this area that I am not as good in, and I can teach them things that they may not be proficient in yet. So the right mindset about who you're bringing on, again, it comes back to the who, is so incredibly important. But you've got to be honest with yourself. You've got to be honest with what you want your life and your business to look like. How much do you want to work? How many clients do you want to help? How much GCI do you really want to get to? And is it because you want other people to see your success, or is it because you're actually wanting to live a life and that's going to make you feel fulfilled? So the mindset behind growth and the mindset behind why and who you're bringing on is so incredibly important. And this is one that, again, even though we wanted to bring people on as leverage, and we wanted to bring people on to help their businesses, because we expedited the hiring process for the first couple of years, we didn't really partner with people. We ended up with a bunch of people on our team in 2018 and 19 who we had to manage. And that feels like herding cats, guys. That feels like I'm trying to push a rope. I'm trying to get all these people to do all this stuff because I want it for them, as opposed to helping them self-discover what they want and then helping them get there. A much smarter person than me once said, the way you will find success is helping a bunch of other people reach their goals. So if you are bringing people in for leverage and to help them meet their goals, you will ultimately reach yours as well.
One of the biggest myths in real estate is that big is the place to be, or that big is profitable, or that if you build a big team, you can go lay on the beach in Tahiti, drink a Mai Tai or whatever the heck you drink in Tahiti, and just kind of make money off the backs of other people. If that's what you're thinking this is, you shouldn't go there, because that's not what it's going to be for 99.9999% of people. Yes, there's a few people that have teams like that. Yes, there's some people that have built really big teams and sold them successfully, but most teams are very thin margins, believe it or not. Yeah. There's been years where we've made almost no team profit. We still had our personal commissions, but where the team was like razor thin margins. Last year was one of those years with such a tumultuous market. So building a team is not necessarily a pathway to making more money. It can be a pathway to helping and influencing more people and impacting others, which is powerful. Like, we've got 3 other agents on our team that Rachel and I care super passionate about. It's not that we don't about the others, but these 3 are like our people. We care so much about them, and we want them to win at such a massive high level that we are ruthlessly committed to their success and partnering with them. And they've been on our team for 5 or 6 years because of this partnership that we found together. So just don't look at what you see online. Like, the people you see selling 1,000 homes a year, guys, we've mastermind with some of those people. We've seen their P&Ls. It is not necessarily where you want to be, and it is not necessarily what you think it is. Okay, a lot of those teams are barely making money, if they're making money at all. Just massive transactions does not necessarily equal massive profit. All right, anything else on mindset, Rach?
No, I got a little ranty there for a second. So sorry. Mindset is just, it's something I'm super passionate about because the level of your leadership and the level of, where you want to go in your business will never be bigger than your personal mindset. Like you have to build your personal mindset and go through the trials and go through, all the experimenting and go through some success to be able to lead at a high level. So I'm just passionate.
All right, number 4, guys, the right model for you. Okay, there is no right model for everyone, but I want to share with you, first of all, what I've seen go wrong with models. Okay, and this is the way I've seen so many people build teams that has not worked out for them, and they end up having to scrap the whole thing. They decide teams aren't for them, or they're just going to go back to being a single because it didn't work out. So just avoid this model at all costs, because you will see this in some coaching circles. That model is where you're a single agent, you're selling a shitload of houses, making some great money, and you can't handle the leads coming in, and you make your first hire a buyer agent. That is a freaking problem, guys. Why is that a problem, Rachel?
That is a problem because you're basically throwing a bunch of business at this person as opposed to building in leverage to yourself to serve the clients at a higher level.
Right. I mean, you have probably no written expectations for this person, no standard operating procedures. You maybe have an admin that can help them. Maybe. If you don't, now you're the admin trying to help that person. It's just not the right way to build. And what I see these agents, they're just like, man, I'm drowning in lead opportunities. Let's go ahead and just add an agent, take some of that weight off my shoulders. Most of the people you add will not convert nearly at the same level that you do. You have to realize and understand that. So just because you could have gotten a deal done does not mean they're going to get it done. Right. It absolutely does not. So don't go add 3 or 4 buyer agents and think that you're going to have this amazing business. It's going to be a headache, and it's going to have lots of bumps and bruises along the way. And it's probably going to result in you starting over and building the team the right way. So let me share with you a better way to do this. And if I was going to build a team today, this is exactly what I would follow. And again, credit back to Eric Hatch, because he literally wrote the book on this model. And we follow a lot of this in our business even still right now. So the first person is the rainmaker. That's you. Okay. You're the person that's selling lots of houses. You've got the production, and you've got also some leadership skills behind you. You decide, hey, you know what? Selling 25 houses a year, 30 houses, 50 houses a year, it's awesome, but I need some leverage around me, and I want to do more and help more people, and also not work 70, 80, or 100 hours a week. Okay, my first hire, it's now going to be an admin. And this admin is going to take all of these paperwork type things off of your plate, all these tasks, all these things that just bog you down. Like I said earlier, the $15 to $20 an hour tasks, the running around, putting out signs, directionals, filling up flyer boxes, putting on key boxes, loading up all of your compliance documents, things like that. That is your absolute first hire. Go back to the 9-step hiring process. Make sure you follow it on hiring this person. This person's going to be, for those that know DISC, it's going to be an SC or a CS. They're going to be pretty analytical, really stable. Probably the opposite of you if you're really a rainmaker. But that's exactly the match that you need to really take your business to the next level. What that will do is it will buy back a ton of time for you to sell more. Now you're not doing 15 or 20 hours a week of admin. You're doing 15 or 20 hours more of selling, or you're not working 80 hours a week and you're actually getting some time for your family. So that is the first hire, admin.
I want to piggyback on this a little bit, guys, because the first year, to be clear, the first year back in real estate for us, 2017, because we were in real estate from 05 to 09. But when we got back in first full year 2017, I was the TC. I was our contract to close coordinator. I was the escrow coordinator. I was the lender check-in person. So my schedule basically looked like, during the day, I'm meeting with clients and converting leads and going on appointments and showing houses. Then I get home, feed the kids, put the kids to bed, and now I'm up for another 2 or 3 hours doing paperwork. Has anybody else in here done that? Where you're taking your free time because, you've got no leverage, nobody doing your paperwork. So now you're spending hours a week filling out the contracts and making sure they're uploaded up into your dot loop or into your Rezen or your SkySlope or whatever you use. So you're the one doing all these very mindless tasks of, coordinating things, sending the email to escrow, sending the email, checking in with the lender. Those are all things that an admin can easily do. And all of a sudden, now you have, number one, more time to go meet with more clients, or number two, time to actually enjoy a little bit of downtime. And both of those are important for longevity in this business. So absolutely important having your admin be the first hire, because they can take on all of the stuff that really needs to be done. It's important, but it's outside of your scope of genius, especially if you're a good converter.
I just noticed that Dawn asked a really good question. So you said, so I'm a solo agent who has a small amount of transactions. I only need a transaction coordinator, only part-time. Is there a good resource for this to find? I would really recommend using like a third party, like a subcontracted transaction coordinating service, like Transaction Trackers or something like that, or something that's local to your market, where you can pay, $300 a file, and this person manages all of your transaction coordination. So that's the way that I would start to build it up. And then once you've got enough volume going on where it's cost prohibitive to keep paying that person per file, that's when you start to think about bringing that salaried person on. So that's a really good question, Don. Thank you for
exactly.
For asking that. So, all right. So the admin was the first hire, and we kind of covered what they do. The second hire is a partner. So this is a showing and a listing partner. They're going to do things like showing homes for your clients when you're not able to go do it. So that gives you 7-day-a-week coverage. You should have them on a split schedule. It's different than your schedule, so they can go show homes if you're not available, or if you're with another client. They're also going to sit home inspections. They're going to help with your past client touches and outreach, things like that. Their biggest job is to provide you a ton of leverage on the front lines with clients. On the listing side, Rachel's got a full-time listing partner. What does she do, Rach?
Just about everything, guys. Look, again, when it comes down to coordinating listings, when it comes down to showing homes, when it comes down to sitting inspections, these are all things that if you as the agent think that you're the best one to do it, if you think nobody does it like me, I'm the best one to do it because I know all the details and I'm better meeting with the clients every single time, get out of your own way. Knock it off. That is such an egotistical thing to say, because listen, having a partner, having an admin who can bring that soft touch, who can slow down enough to make your clients feel heard and your clients feel understood and loved on, that brings so much to your client's experience. Your job, your full-time job as an agent is to talk with clients, generate business, and close and negotiate deals, right? Their job, so my listing partner does all the pre-listing coordination. She gets all the information for all the paperwork that needs to be done. She coordinates vendors. She helps the clients. She coaches clients through moving. She coaches them through timelines. She's evolved obviously after years with me, that she's able to do a lot of the things that I don't need to do. I am still the main agent. I am still the one who's going to negotiate the contract. I'm still the one who's going to have the price conversation with them as to what we're going to list their home at. Just like Mike is going to be the one, to negotiate the contracts for his buyers. We're still the doctors, so to speak, in the relationship, but having that nurse to tee up, to do all the, the smaller admin items or the smaller hourly things to provide you leverage to continue to bring in business is so incredibly key. So that's it.
So the third hire, we've got an admin now, we've got a partner, still not an agent, guys. We're not there yet. Okay. The third hire, another admin. And so your first admin is probably going to be basically running your business at this point because they've been with you for a while. They might be starting to take on what we would call like a director of operations role, where they run the complete business for you. Like they're running all the financials for you, paying vendors, processing payments, doing cash flow projections, analyzing financials, doing a lot of your hiring for you, things like that, all of your event planning. And then your second admin would then start to take that transaction coordination and listing coordination weight off of your shoulders, and also some marketing too. Marketing starts to become a big pain point at this point. Oftentimes the rainmakers are the best marketers, and you have to start thinking about handing that off when you get to that point. The fourth hire, ISA. Inside sales agent. So a lot of people ask me, should an ISA be my first hire? And it absolutely should not be your first hire. And the reason why, it takes a long time to become a good ISA. I'm talking 6 to 12 months before the light bulb even starts to go on in their head if they don't have experience in that position, okay? So you're going to be burning a lot of leads, and it's going to have a very slow return on investment for those dollars you put in. Again, just like agents, they're not going to be the same level of converter that you're going to be. So this is why we have it as your fourth hire. At this point, you're stretching yourself super thin. You're probably doing between 60 and 100 transactions at this point. And this ISA now takes the database management and the weight of a lot of the calling off of your shoulders. You should still be prospecting at least an hour a day at this point, but that ISA is going to go in there and find opportunities that you otherwise would not be discovering. I don't recommend giving your Zillow or your Realtor.com leads to an ISA for a very, very long time, On our team, when we've had ISAs, they've had to set 30 met appointments, not set, but met appointments before they earned and unlocked Zillow. So keep those going to you, but have them go hunt and mine through your database to find opportunities that you just don't have opportunities to go work. An ISA, just like a partner and an admin, these are going to be a salaried position. ISAs typically get about 5% on the appointments they set that result in a closing. So think about that. At that point, we're now ready to hire an agent, guys. We've got massive leverage. We can bring an agent. We bring them in our ecosystem at this point. They're going to have transaction coordination. They're going to have marketing. They're going to have listing coordination. They're going to have an ISA that's helping them with appointments. Now you've got so much value to share with this person that it finally makes sense to add that person on. And you can even add 2 at this point if you want to, but leave it at that and then get some momentum, help those agents become successful and efficient and productive, and then you can add more at that point. But this gives you such a strong foundation. This is slowing down to speed up later, and it's the right way to build a team if you want to go there. If you don't want to build a team, that's totally cool. Just stop at the admin and don't keep adding those other layers on. Just add your admin hire on and you're done. And you can go do 40, 50 or way more deals than that, and just be happy with that. So, all right, that gets us to number 5. The technology side of things. And we put this last for a reason, because agents have this obsession with technology. There's like this belief that if you just add this one CRM or this one lead source or whatever, that it's going to somehow be the silver bullet that gets tons of deals done. That is a myth. That is not reality. The foundation of a successful business are these things we went over with you. It's about getting the right people. It's about getting the right coach, all these other things we've talked about. But once you've got this in play, now technology becomes what I call a force multiplier. It's going to make you more efficient, and it's going to allow you to grow so much quicker because you've got systems built out. So I want to share with you the exact technology stack that our team uses and what each one of these tools will do for you if you decide to look into them. The first one, obviously you need a real estate CRM. I've done a bunch of videos about this. The 3 CRMs that I like Sierra Interactive first and foremost. That's our team's CRM. We've been with them since 2018. They are an incredible company to work with. In my opinion, the most robust CRM that's out there. It's a complex CRM to learn. So if you don't like technology, or if you're afraid of it, maybe not the best solution for you. But if you're a tech person or you're committed to learning and putting the time in, it's definitely the best choice in my opinion. We've got 70,000 people in our CRM with Sierra, and it's super robust. We have over 120 automations that help us keep a really clean database. We're constantly staying in front of people and messaging them back and forth. So if not Sierra, then my second choice would be Follow Up Boss. Follow Up Boss is very simple to use. It's got a great user experience. So it's very simple to the eye to find everything you need. It doesn't have a steep learning curve. And so if you don't love technology, if technology is not your jam, look at Follow Up Boss. The thing I don't like about it, you can't incorporate text in your action plan. So you can manually send texts, but you cannot build them into a plan like you can in Sierra Interactive. So if you want just a basic CRM that has a lot of tools still, and that's very easy to learn, Follow Up Boss is definitely your jam. You just still need a website to connect to. So that website could be Sierra, it could be Ylopo, any other website, you just connect it to there. So when leads go on the site, they flow into your CRM. The third choice would be Chime. Chime is a very robust CRM as well. It's right up there with Sierra as far as the capabilities it has. It's about the same cost. Like I think our Sierra site's about $500 a month. Chime is about that same cost as well. If you're at Real Brokerage like we are, you get it for $25 a month, which is an incredible value. But it would be my third choice after Sierra, Follow Up Boss, and then finally Chime. And I only put it third because the customer service is not as amazing as the first 2. It's offshore support, whereas Sierra Interactive and Follow Up Boss are people that are stateside and that take a lot of care for the clients that they've got. So that's the CRM side of things. The next part that we like to use is something called Hatch Systems and Messaging. Think of this as an operating system for your CRM. Instead of having to think about which action plans should you create, you just download this into your CRM and you pay a monthly subscription fee to it and you can just run with it. So I think we have like 60 fully automated plans in our Hatch messaging system. We've got a plan for realtor.com leads, Zillow leads, pay-per-click leads, open house leads. If you can think of it, there's probably an action plan in there for it. And the creator of Hatch messaging is Robbie T, a very well-known ISA coach, dear friend of both Rachel's and mine. I would say having Hatch systems and messaging is the next best thing to having Robbie as your personal ISA. It'll 10x your return on your CRM, and you won't have to think and guess about what's going to convert. You can use what Robbie's already done and pioneered for that. Robbie speaks my love language because he makes data-backed decisions. He looks at the data, he sees what converts, he sees what doesn't, and he continually improves what he's doing. So there's about 400 or 500 people now on Hatch messaging and systems. You can always reach out to me if you want to check it out, but it's awesome, and I'm a huge fan of it.
And for the record, I just want to give this caveat. We make absolutely nothing off of if you use any of these things, just for the record. It's really, like, Michael is just so passionate about it because he loves it that much and it works out well. So we have no financial interest in that.
Sisu, SISU, is an analytics system, and it's connected to our CRM. It's going to report in a very beautiful way things like appointments set, met, signed, pended, closed, calls made, conversations had, cost per close by lead source. If you like data and you want to make sure you're making good data-backed decisions, Sisu is definitely the tool for you. It is not cheap. It's a few $100s a month. But if you've got a team that's larger, I would definitely recommend looking into it. We've been on Sisu since 2019, and I absolutely love their company, their people, and their product. It's absolutely exceptional. And that we use Sisu for a lot of our accountability sessions with our agents and with our team members, because instead of them telling me what's going on in their business without any substance, we actually look at the numbers, and those numbers often dictate what is this coaching or accountability session going to look like. Okay. Kajabi is another one we use. Kajabi is basically our training system. So when someone comes on our team, we've got all these courses built out for them. It's built out by positions. So we've got a course for buyer agents, a course for listings, a course for partners, a course for ISAs, a course for the CRM. I love Kajabi because it's a really beautiful way to build out your company training in a great place. It's against like $100, $200 a month, but it is a really good resource if you're going to try to scale your business, to have those SOPs, have those video trainings, have those screen shares in one spot, and have courses that people go through when they join your operation. The last one I want to talk about is just Ylopo. Ylopo does what we call retargeting very well. And retargeting is basically, for those that don't know, when someone looks at a home on your website, let's say they looked at a home in Seattle, and then they bounce and they don't come back for a while, it will put more homes in Seattle, like exactly where they're looking at, and their price range, back in their social media feeds, Instagram, Facebook, and it'll dynamically be retargeting them with homes that are matching what they were shown to have looked at before. And so it gets people re-engaged and back on your website that you've already paid to generate a lead for. So it's a very cost-effective way to get more out of the leads you're already paying to generate. So that's the technology stack that we use to connect you with people at each of these companies. But these are the 5 pieces that we firmly believe in, and companies that we're heavily vested in and have worked with for years. So we got about 2 minutes left. If you've got questions that we haven't answered, I definitely want to make sure we get to them right now. Anything else, we can, of course, be reached. Facebook Messenger, Marco Polo. You can go on to meetthenovaks.com and find us there. But yeah, yep. What did Anonymous say? There's something about
the Sierra numbers.
Oh,
maybe they, because they do, like, a lot of the pre-program numbers will come up as spam after a while. They're spam to me. Yep. So we do, once a client, like once we've closed them, we will connect with them over social media. We will connect with them on our personal cell. So we will connect with them personally, like with our actual private numbers after we close them. Typically, we try to keep people in the CRM and using the CRM numbers while they're still leads, and then typically through the pending process. But
Chris, Hatch you can get on Follow Up Boss, and you can get it on Chime, and you can get it on Sierra Interactive. So any of those 3 CRMs you can run Hatch systems on. I would definitely recommend doing that. So, all right, questions going once, questions going twice. We will send out the replay to everybody that was on and everyone that registered as well. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to be back in the middle of April for another amazing webinar. We'll send it out once we've got everything finalized. But I hope you guys have a great day and that you learned something today. Bye.
Take care, y'all.